this president and his team about testing, and the answers are, well, this company's doing that, and this company's going to have this. There's never an answer as to when. And if that question can't be answered, then you can't answer the question as to when the country can be reopened. Not even close. It's not 30 days. It's not 15 days. It's months. It's possibly until there's a vaccine.
Claire McCaskill, I saw an article talking about the costs of our failure when it comes to testing. And you could make the argument, and I know economists will when this is over, that our failure to be able to test is going to cost us trillions of dollars by the time this crisis is over. You look at the trillions lost, you look at the trillions in all of these relief packages we're having to put out there, all because we didn't do what South Korea did and immediately take this seriously. South Korea had their first infection the same day we had our first infection. A week later, they had a test ready to go.
Good God.
We continue to fumble along because the president has refused to take testing as seriously as he should. And the costs to our economy, the costs to Americans' health, it's going to be almost incalculable.
It's staggering.
Yeah, delay is deadly in a crisis like this. It's just delay is deadly. And this president was in charge and was part of a government that delayed a response, particularly as it related to testing. And as a result, we are going to see thousands and thousands of more people die. You know, you look at preventable death and you look at the crisis that is caused. You know, I mean, think of all the energy that was expended on Benghazi and all of the accusations that were made that, well, it was preventable and there should have been people in the State Department should have known there was a security breach. We have got a ship full of our active military calling and saying, please help us. We have over 200 people infected on this ship with active military in uniform serving our country in theater over across the ocean. And this commander-in-chief knows it. And if we do not take steps to immediately help those people on that ship, what does that say about his ability to lead this country? It is frightening to me that we have this kind of crisis and that there appears to nobody is rising to the occasion saying, okay, here's what we're going to do with the Teddy Roosevelt. We're going to take it to Guam. We've got doctors ready. We're going to take care of our sailors. It is unbelievable. And, Joe, let me just say about Florida and these governors. You know, this president loves power. Well, he's got the power today. You know what he can do today? These governors are afraid of him, and they're afraid to lead. All he has to do in his daily show is to say, I'm pleading with all the governors to enter statewide orders to stop schools, to shut down non-essential businesses. That's all the president has to do. And the governor in Florida, the governor in my state, the governor in Texas would finally quit delaying what we need to do to mitigate the loss of life. And the president has that power. And I pray and I plead that he will use the power that he loves so much and tell these governors to do the right thing. That's all they're waiting for, is for his signal. They're waiting for his signal.
So, Peter Baker, is there a logical argument for the president not using the full force of the Defense Production Act when it comes to streamlining and getting ventilators and other types of supplies directly to where they need to go, and obviously ramping up testing, which leaves our country in the dark and our economy shut down until we have that?
Yeah, that's a great question, and that'll be part of, I think, Mike Barnicle's after-action report is what the Defense Production Act could have accomplished had it been invoked earlier. The president has invoked it, or at least said he has invoked it now for a while, but he's only put it in place or used it in a handful of occasions, or even smaller than that. It's a cudgel. It could also be used basically to force that the threat of it can be used to sort of compel companies to do what they otherwise might be resisting doing without even necessarily needing to use it. But the president seems very reluctant. He seems to think that that's an interference in the private sector, and that it's better to secure voluntary cooperation. The problem for a lot of these states is they're all competing for the same small supply sets on these medical equipment, on the personal protective equipment, and so forth, and trying to outbid each other. What experts tell you need is a central look at this that tries to determine where is the need the greatest, how can we get the production up to meet that need, and then how can we distribute it correctly. And that's what people are asking about right now.
As Peter points out, there is a battle between governors across the country and the Trump administration over the need for testing supplies and ventilators. And that continued yesterday as New York Governor Andrew Cuomo said the country's patchwork approach to the pandemic has made it difficult for governors like him.